all the countries at the heart of the pandemic now, like France, Spain, Italy, the US, lots of other countries in Europe, it's absolutely right that they've focused the great bulk of their effort on their own citizens and their own countries. That's the right thing to do. But everybody needs to understand that this pandemic is on the move. It's in more than 150 countries, and it poses the biggest threat in those countries which are war zones or have humanitarian crises already. Countries in the Middle East like Syria and Yemen, African countries like those in the Sahel, Somalia, Venezuela in Latin America, those countries in Asia with big refugee populations like Bangladesh. And the rich countries will be smart while they deal with their own problem, look after their own citizens at home, also to do a little bit to help us minimize the potentially devastating impact of the pandemic on those countries. And the reason for that is if we don't deal with it in those countries too, it's going to circulate and potentially mutate and could be a permanent threat to everybody. So nobody will be safe until everybody is safe.
Yeah. And the money you're hoping to get here, is this primarily to buy hospital equipment, things like ventilators, or is this more about preventative measures in the community? Because I imagine you're often talking about parts of the world where people don't have access, for example, to running water all the time, so they can't do basic things like washing their hands.
Yeah, so there's a few things. I mean, firstly, we will do everything we can to get the personal protection equipment, the diagnostic tests, those kind of basic things into the most fragile countries. And the World Health Organization has sent 1.5 million tests now to those kinds of countries. Secondly, though, we need to get public information and guidance to everybody so everyone knows what they can do in their circumstances. And a big part of that in the places we're talking about is a strong focus on basic hygiene. There's too many people who don't have enough clean water or enough soap, and we need to deal with that issue as well. We can reorganize the way aid is delivered to people to reduce the congestion and so on, and we're going to be doing that too. And then the other really crucial point is in the wake of the declining availability of air services, we're going to use money we raise from this appeal to scale up the UN's own air services to get the humanitarian workers and the frontline staff to the front line so they can do their job, but also so that we can rotate them in and out, give them a breather and so on. Because unless we have ways of keeping people on the ground through these new air services we're going to be building up, we won't be able to deliver the whole operation. So those are the key priorities.
Yeah. And just finally, I know you touched on this a little earlier, the scale of money that governments are having to pour in to protect their own economies. Are you worried that at a time of crisis like this, that simply national and indeed supranational bodies like the EU won't be able to dig deep at this time and help some other countries around the world?
Well, we strongly support the huge economic measures being taken in many countries. So the US Congress has just passed this, or just passing this $2 trillion package. Now, in fact, in that package and in earlier packages, there is a very small amount of money for the international response too. And smart countries will do most of the things that need to be done at home, but they will do some things internationally to protect themselves as much as anything else, as a sign of kind of broader solidarity. Because, as I say, unless it's dealt with everywhere, nobody's going to be safe. And all of the senior officials and politicians in the rich world I talk to, they all understand that.